Bros to the
every
people,
time.
week 9. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan McDonald, Jason Draven, Neil Smith. We're here as always to help you set your lineups. It is Thursday evening, November the 3rd. Jason, how you doing, big guy?
Dude, it is clearly just a massacre of everybody out right now. The people who are going out, the trades that happened. It's a crazy, or I guess we'll go with Gary Jules here and just call it a mad world.
It's a mad world. Jordan, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm back in the trenches with you guys and willing to help out some folk with their teams like usual. And I can see we have a lot of questions to begin with. So
we do have a lot of questions and we need to get right into it. So go ahead, kick us off, Jordan. Pick
all right,
the
I'm
first
just
question.
trying to make sure that we don't have any. I don't think we have any Thursday night questions, considering it's fairly easy. Play your Eagles, don't play your Texans. Daniel Ward wants to warn Jason that the day of reckoning is upon us.
Excellent.
I don't know what that means, but maybe we'll find out. His first question, Brady, Trevor Lawrence, or Ryan Tannehill?
Well, Tannehill was just kind of downgraded again, so I wouldn't be surprised if Malik Willis is going to play.
That's going to be an interesting Sunday night game. It's going
to be real sad. I'm going to feel real bad about that.
It.
I would probably go with Trevor Lawrence just because even though Brady has a decent matchup, I can't trust that team right now, and I'd much rather trust, surprisingly, the Jaguars than the Buccaneers.
I have them one spot different in my rankings. I can't trust either team right now, so I go for the age. I go for Brady. I reach for my safety blanket. I go for Whoopi, and I wrap myself in it. And if I get it, he hasn't been great, but at least he's been putting up 20s the last couple weeks, and he's stopped putting up the complete goose eggs. My concern for Lawrence is that the variability is so crazy right now. He could put up a 40. He could put up a 2. He could put up a -5. I don't know. And I can't deal with that level of uncertainty. At least with Brady, I feel like I know what I'm getting, even if I hate it.
You see, you always talk about that. It's like, do you need a 15 or do you need a 40? And that's always what you say. And you're right. Like, if you want the floor play, you go Brady. If you want the ceiling play, you go Trevor Lawrence. The Trevor Lawrence matchup is pretty good. It's not like he's going against Denver, where you knew what you were getting. And if you still played him, that was your fault. And Brady will probably throw for a lot of yards. He has been. It just the touchdowns haven't necessarily been there. But that's what I'm going to say. I probably would lean Trevor Lawrence. I just like the matchup. But I feel like you can't really go too much wrong either way. If you want to keep it safe, I would go Brady, but that's totally up to you. And Daniel Ward, yeah, he's got some more questions. This one's a doozy, so we'll go through this one. PPR, Juju, Rondale, Jacoby. Standard. Oh, goodness.
I think the first one I'm going to go with Myers, but it's close with Juju just because of the matchup.
I guess this is...
That's how I do it. I break it down and we'll go through each one.
Yeah, we got to take it in chunks here. So for PPR, you want Juju, Rondale, or Jacoby, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. 2 seconds.
Yeah, so I said I would go with Myers just because he offers that safe floor. You know exactly what you're going to get. Coming off the bye, I would expect Juju to be probably the lead guy there and in a pretty good matchup, but I still think I lead Jacoby because, like you said, I'll take the safety blanket and play it safe.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that.
I am also going with Jacoby for the same general reasons. If you need to go hard, by the way, the answer to your question is Rondale Moore. But if you just need something to feel good about, like you need positivity, yeah, go with Jacoby because we talked about it last year. He was great. We just couldn't get in the red zone. Well, this year they're going to him in the red zone. So I've got Jacoby as a firm wide receiver 2 this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think that was a clean sweep. I think the other two have good matchups, though. Juju's... It's a little dicey with Juju, but they're coming off a bye week, so hopefully that they finally got more connection. Maybe they play more Call of Duty. Who knows? But the safest option here is Jacoby. And then the next one. So we got Jacoby, Myers again.
Pick 3 in standard. Rondale, Jacoby, MVS, Algier, David Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, wait,
So
that's not. Wait. Is that pick 3? This is phrased in a very interesting way.
I
I'm
think
gonna
it is
go
like-
with
No,
pick
it has to
3.
be. This one's pick 3. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
because
next
he's
one's
got the
pick 2.
dashes afterwards. Okay.
So Myers and I guess it's easier just to sit. So I'd sit MVS and Algier because of the fact that Patterson's probably coming back.
Yeah, you're sitting MVS because in standard he has virtually 0 value unless he catches some sort of long touchdown, and your other options are better. And then I agree. You're sitting Algier not because Algier's been playing bad, but if Cordarrelle Patterson is back, which it's trending that direction. Yeah, you're not going to get much out of Algier if he's coming back.
Yep, I think that's another clean sweep. And thing is, like, who knows what that backfield will look like with Patterson? Are they going to limit his carries? I can't see him making him go full throttle again. Like, I can't see him leading that backfield, but I think it's going to be a committee at best. And then you got Caleb Huntley still there, who's played well. So who knows? So I don't want to deal with that. I would just bench him and play those 3 guys that we've all suggested. Next one, this was PPR. Mike Evans, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Pittman, Rondale, Duvernay. Pick 2.
I think I lean Evans and Amon-Ra there.
It's Evans and St. Brown. It's actually not close. Well, actually, you know what? It is slightly close with Pittman, but
Yeah, that was my thing. I'm like, PPR.
beyond that, it's not close. Beyond Pittman, it's not close. But I'm gonna go. Yeah, Amon-Ra and Evans. Yep, those are my 2.
Yeah, I would too.
You got 2 borderline wide receiver 1s, and Pittman's a mid-level wide receiver 2 because of the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. Even though I love me some Pittman, but let's be honest.
And then Fields or Brady. I'm gonna answer this the same way.
Fields.
Well, it's Fields if you think you need some. What do you need? Actually, you know what? In my rankings, I have Fields ahead of Brady anyway. It's Fields.
There you go.
There you go. It's
yeah,
Fields.
I love Fields this week. I may be.
Well, I don't love it. It terrifies the living crap
Well,
out of me.
I love it
watched
because
a lot
I
of Justin
have to
Fields.
love it. So
It's absolutely terrifying. No one should feel good about that, but I get it.
I'm trying to like psych myself up for it. You're not helping me here.
I watch a lot of Bears games, Jordan.
That
I watch a lot of Bears.
That is true.
You should not be.
Hey, he
excited about
runs.
it.
It's fine.
So
Yeah.
Daniel's taking
tries.
up a lot of airspace with this question too. Not that we're against it, but let's answer some more. PPR, Juju, Donta Foreman, Gibson, Algier. I don't know how to say his name. Algier.
I've been saying Algier.
Algier. Okay. Pick 2 PPR. You got to go Juju because it's the only wide receiver.
It's Juju and it's Donta Foreman, and we can move on.
Yeah.
It's that's it. It's
I mean,
that
if you
simple.
want to play it a little safer, you could probably go Gibson. But
yeah,
even then,
I'm a little
but-
like. Donta Foreman's been good though these 2 weeks.
Donta
so
Foreman's been way too good to
so
bench.
you're gonna have to
Donta
maybe
Foreman. You
ride
can't
that
bench
wave.
Donta Foreman. Okay, Donta Foreman's dropping 40s in
Well,
PPR.
that's
right
why
now.
I'm saying
And
I'd be more worried about Juju. Than,
It's either Juju. If you want to worry about volatility, you're talking about benching Juju, but Juju's coming off back-to-back 20s in PPR. I'm not afraid. Going right back to the well. So it's for me, it's those 2 pretty comfortably.
Yeah. Okay. And then the next one, half PPR, Algier, CH, London, Garrett Wilson, Deion Jackson, pick 2. Well, if Jonathan Taylor's out, you're playing Deion Jackson, even though I don't love the matchup, but the
matchup's
opportunity will be there.
You can't play London.
Nope.
You can't play CEH.
Well, you can.
Not
Just
if you want
because
to
of the
win.
You
I
literally
know, but the
can't.
matchup. That's if they actually throw, but they aren't, which is the issue. I'm just saying.
We got to move on. We don't have this all day.
It's
like-
Wilson and Jackson probably.
Yeah, thank you. It's
Okay.
it's Wilson and it's probably Deion Jackson pending status on Jonathan Taylor.
And
If
Cordero
Jonathan
Patterson.
Taylor was to play, I don't want to play Deion Jackson in some sort of timeshare. So I'm going to give you 2 answers. You're playing Garrett Wilson no matter what. And then your other one gets interesting. Because if Deion Jackson is going to have the whole job to himself, you're going to play Deion Jackson. If there's some sort of weirdo committee, which is unlikely, but it could happen, then at that point, I'm probably leaning to Algier. But that's only if Cordarrelle Patterson doesn't play. So then at that point, we go straight into Drake London because I'm not playing CEH. So it's a nightmare.
I would actually go the other way. Instead of going to
Okay.
Drake London, I'd go CEH.
All right. Well,
That same tree, but instead of going to
Mhm.
London, I go CH.
well, he's got options though. Like
He does have options.
so. All right, we'll do the last one. PPR. I don't know how many. I'm gonna say 2.
No, I'm gonna say 1.
1.
Yeah, I think it's
Actually,
just
that
a
makes more
singular.
sense. Duvernay, Al Robinson, or Josh Palmer.
I gotta go.
I am going to be on the Jason bandwagon It's Josh Palmer. I mean, it's not even close.
He's supposed to be playing. He says he's playing as of
Yeah,
today's
I mean,
update.
out of concussion, theoretically.
He's been practicing fully. I think he's gonna play. Josh Palmer, like,
Yeah, he probably gives you your safest floor for sure. I could see wanting to play Duvernay, but again, you don't really trust them to get it to him. They don't. That whole thing is very confusing. So Palmer's probably your safe play for sure.
It's Palmer if he's playing. That's fine. And at least here's the silver lining about that. At least you'll know in the morning. So if you need to move him out, you can. If we're gonna make the assumption Josh Palmer can't go for whatever reason, then I have Duvernay slightly ahead of Allen Robinson. But at that point, to be perfectly honest with you, if your choice is Devin Duvernay or Allen Robinson, and I don't say this lightly, you could flip a coin. It's that close. It's that close.
I'll give you another stipulation. If you get return yards.
Sure. I doubt it, but sure. Why not? Yeah,
You know what, Jason,
I'll always throw that one in there.
we need to get that on a shirt for you if you include return yards.
I used to play in a league like that, by the way, and it's a
I've
really
never done it.
underrated format.
Oh yeah,
It was actually way more fun than I thought it would be. I thought it would be stupid, and it changes the values of certain
Mhm.
players.
like
Not
Devin Duvernay.
a lot, but I'll date myself how old I actually am.
Devin
That was
Duvernay.
back when Randall Cobb was like
Oh.
a young man and was just coming into the league and was running kicks. So like Randall Cobb didn't mean nothing, but then he started running kicks, and it's like, oh, he's a flex. So like that's how long ago that was. But that is a fun format. That was back when Jamal Charles was still playing football. So for all my friends who are over 30,
And that would be
who might remember this, like
Priest Holmes too.
yeah, Priest Holmes I think was still in the league at that point, but that was back when Jamal Charles was on the breakout campaign. Nobody ever heard of him. Fantasy darling circa 2009. Jamal Charles lit it up.
Thank
I
you,
gotta turn up
Jason.
my hearing
Or-
aid. Hold on, I can't hear you.
Thank you, Daniel. for the
Appreciate it,
selections.
man.
So all right, let's go on to our friend Soaring Eagle 175. Brees Hall.
Always with the
Or-
dynasty and trade questions every single day.
This one's fairly.
You love it, man.
This is actually a really interesting one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's a
I still
tough
think I
one.
go with talent here, and I'll go with Brees on that.
I know that the ACL scares me.
Is it
Correct.
PPR? I'm gonna have to assume PPR for this.
Let's assume it's PPR. I still have to go Brees Hall too.
Yeah.
Even though ATL, like, it's close just because of the injury. I
Yeah,
think
now that he has the-
closer. It's closer now.
I'll
yeah.
still go Hall.
I'm going Brees even with the ACL too. We'll clean sweep it. You can't deny what Brees Hall was able to do. I understand the brightest stars burn briefly a lot of the time, but if this was early 2000s or late 90s, it'd be ETN because I would be terrified of his leg not healing. But modern medical science has gotten to a point where we've seen a lot of these individuals come back and have, really excellent careers. Makes me a little nervous that he has multiple ligaments that were damaged, but he didn't rupture an Achilles, and that would change the answer. So I got to still give it to Brees, even though I totally get this question, because you're talking about for dynasty, 2 of the top 5, right? Like it's
It's also based on if you're a win now or win later. Because if you're wanting to win now, Etienne is clearly the one you want.
Oh, he's the only one that you.
Correct. That's
can
why
do
I
anything
also
with,
that's why I
so,
also say that. And he will have some clearly dynasty value moving forward. So
all right. Let's go to. Let's stick with dynasty questions.
All right,
Actually,
yeah, we have
Jordan.
another
Let's just-
dynasty
yeah,
questions
let's just keep 'em-
from-
let's just knock them out. What?
Okay. Anyone want to take a shot at this? I remember this person.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
So
rebuilding.
Hopkins is interesting. We're gonna try and pronounce the name.
That's
now,
what I
right?
meant. Yeah, but no, let's
no,
just
no,
just.
No, I'm good. So Hopkins is an interesting one because he's approaching 30. He's getting to the scary part of the career arc for Dynasty, and we don't know where he's going to be playing football next year. That's the other scary part because the Cardinals cannot afford to pay Hollywood and Hopkins. They got to pick one. And right now, if I believe this, and I don't work for the Cardinals, I don't make these decisions. I'll just tell you what my decision would be. It'd be DeAndre Hopkins 10 times out of 10 every day and twice a day on Sunday, and we ship Hollywood Brown off. And that's the end of this conversation. Because I think one of those players is at a totally different skill caliber than the other one. But I'm not Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not making these calls. I don't work for the Cardinals. So we don't know what they're going to do. So that's where this gets into some weird variance with this. So what is a reasonable trade for him is an interesting conversation because it's going to depend on who your trade partner is. Because if you're trying to pry that away from somebody that's actually like good and is trying to win titles, cost is going to go up. If you're going to try and do a if you're going to try and do, if the other person you're talking about is also, in rebuild mode and they don't need that anymore, okay, it's going to be a little bit more reasonable to try and, pull that away. So I'm curious how you guys want to attack this. Do you want to give them picks or players? Because I'm assuming that based on the thrust of the question that this individual is probably looking to offload picks. That would be my guess. How do you guys read this?
That would be.
I was reading it that
because he's rebuilding.
That they're selling and they're trying to see what they can get.
So if
that's
you
why
get
I read it.
Young talent, you either have to get young talent and add picks.
Yeah.
I'd say if it's just a pick, late first rounder.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
That's what you're talking about. You're talking about a mid to late first rounder. Let's assume 12-team league, right? You're talking about somewhere between pick 7 and 12. Maybe 6. That's kind of where you're at. That's what DeAndre Hopkins is worth. If it's just a pick. Now, if you're talking about picking a player or a player even, it's a little bit different. If you're talking about a player, I'd say
what about like Wan'Dale Robinson and like
what is Wan'Dale Robinson's actual value?
Yeah.
Because for me,
that's why I mean you pair with the pick, maybe a second.
It's probably more than
late second.
Well, if it's probably an early second. It's probably an early second in Wan'Dale. That'll get you there. It's like a top 5 second round pick in Wan'Dale would probably do it for you. That's probably fair if that's what you were looking for. At least that's what my math would lead me to believe. I'd say if you're looking for a player, it depends what they would want, but Aaron Jones, it's a neighborhood. It's about that. And that's going to be a tough sell because especially if you're rebuilding, you don't have an Aaron Jones to trade away.
Yeah. I feel like we can go on and on about this. Let's put a pin in this one.
We could. I'll tell you what. Join us on Discord, $1 a month, and we can chop this up with you in our Dynasty channel when there's no time limit for days and days and days and days. Also, we could look at your entire team and your opponent's team and actually help you in real time craft a package as opposed to trying to answer this in 2 minutes or less.
All right. Well, thank you, Gibberish. Thomas Dodson.
Nice.
What's up, guys? At Jason, I'm the guy you and Mike helped with on my trade today at Discord. That could be a lot of people.
Yeah, that was.
I think I remember this guy. Yeah.
But his question: Zeke, Monty, Gabriel Davis for Nick. I was assuming Nick Chubb. Still trying to work something out. Oh, that's a lot. And I know Nick Chubb has been phenomenal. And he looks like that's his back.
Redraft? I'm assuming this is redraft.
I gotta assume it's redraft. I think that's a lot. I know those 3 players. The sum is more than the parts.
Well, the problem is when you offer a 3-for-1, you're actually devaluing your own pieces.
Yeah.
So that's how you get to that.
Yeah.
Because that person actually has to cut players to accept what you're giving them.
Yeah.
So it skews the math because then you have to subtract also what they're cutting. So if you take it down to a mathematical algorithm, right? Let's just do this round numbers to make it easy for people to comprehend. But this is the math I actually do when people ask me these questions. Let's say the combined value of Zeke, Montgomery, and Gabe Davis is worth 50 points, right? And Nick Chubb is worth 60 points. Well, the deal gets weird because then you have to factor in whatever that person is cutting. So you see what I'm saying? It changes how the math works on both sides. Because that's why when you do a multi, like a 3-for-1 or something, those trades are hard to get done because you're actually devaluing your own parts.
Sorry, he also said he wants Foreman instead of Monty. I really don't think that matters too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wants
I still
Foreman.
think 3-for-1 for Chubb. I mean, you could sell.
I think it's really more dependent on if it's dynasty or not.
This is another one that would be great. I guess he's on Discord. So
he's on. They're already having this conversation. They want to follow up.
Yeah. That's why I asked him about dynasty and he never responded to that. But it is a PPR league.
Okay.
I was trying to go back up and see if it.
Yeah, I see actually where you're asking him that question. I'm gonna say, like, for me, that would probably be a no, just on the face of it. But I got to do some math real quick as
It really hurts his team too.
Yeah, if you have,
That's what I'm trying to figure out. How are you going to feel the starting lineup the way
he would be stuck with his lineup pretty much the rest of the season? Would be
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Is like we still have 4 more weeks of buys. How are you going to juggle that? You'll open 2 roster spots, so that's cool. So like, what's on the waiver wire though?
And Nick Chubb's on a bye this week, so if your trade goes through now, that's screwing you.
So you have no Nick Chubb this week. You got to wait, and then he wants you to give up Donta Foreman. Why are you giving up Donta Foreman, who's dropping dimes? The Zeke and Monty thing, I get. Zeke's on it. Zeke's hurt, and Zeke's hurt. And
both are in committees too.
Right. Well, Zeke's also at the mercy of Skeletor. That's actually helping him in this case. Skeletor has decided that he is going to throw all logic out the window and go back to Zeke.
I thought you said Skeletor was Tony Pollard at first, and then I realized
no.
And then I realized I was like, oh.
Skeletor lives on a yacht and drinks Johnny Walker Blue out of a human skull. Okay, we all know this. These are facts. These are facts that are irrefutable. I'm not even afraid of it. Come at me. Say something about it. Like, that's literally what's going on. So yeah, no, you've got an issue where that's helping you in this case, but he's hurt. That's what's killing you. Gabe Davis is an aside. I'd be fine trading because it's the luckiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
So it is redraft, and he's saying that he's got Drake, Gibson, and Hines, not much of depth at running back. So I can kind of see why this guy is probably playing hardball.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be
running back.
Oh, that's the guy you're trading to.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense then.
I still would hold on to Foreman. I think that's kind of like a lottery ticket at this point.
Can you get him to toss in Antonio Gibson?
That's what I was.
Because that's the only thing I want.
I
don't want any of the rest of it. That's just trash. But I'll take Antonio Gibson as a.
I'd even add in
staple too.
Somebody else.
No, I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I would do right now. I'll tell you what I would do. I cracked it. If you want Foreman, you're giving me Gibson back. Go have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because then I'll do it. If you don't want Montgomery and you want Foreman and Zeke, I'll give it to you. But you're giving me Antonio Gibson in addition to Nick Chubb. You're giving me both. That's what you're doing.
Okay. Let's move on. Thank you, Thomas, for the questions.
Thomas, come back to us in the trade channel. We'll continue this conversation.
Our boy Jose, of course, loyal watcher Jose. His first question:
Listener?
Should I try to trade Hines for Jeff Wilson Jr. since I also have Mostert?
Yes,
I would agree. Yeah,
10,000%. Go do it right now.
Yeah, get Hines off your roster.
And he also.
Well, no, it's more. I want my handcuff.
Yeah,
I'm assuming Jose's got a pretty good team. If this is the same team Jose keeps telling us about, Jose going to the playoffs, okay? Jose going to playoffs. You need your handcuff, Jose.
And he's smart enough. He's thinking.
You're already in playoff mode, my friend.
Like
you're doing this the right way. You're at the right time. You're halfway through the year. You're going to playoffs. Get your handcuff. Go make that deal right now before something dumb happens and that deal's off the table.
Yeah. And he also says, should he trade Pittman? What's his value in return? Like we kind of mentioned, his value is dipped a little bit. He's still a great player, don't get me wrong.
Not as much as you would think.
But a little bit. I didn't say a lot. A little bit. Just, I don't know what Ellinger's going to, like, he played one game and then played spectacularly well. And they're going against Cleveland.
Whose secondary is god-awful.
Yeah. So
their secondary is atrocious.
Honestly, if you can, I brought it up in our Discord because I'm like, here's some great trade candidates for you. I would be looking to get like Dalvin Cook or
if you can get someone to give you Dalvin Cook, then I've got a bridge in New York that I'd like to sell them because they don't understand how money works or anything. Hey, it's a positional scarcity argument, Jason. It's not a raw fantasy output.
I know,
total points
but again,
issue.
So I would have Pittman and probably just one of your bench pieces and throw it in and try and get Dalvin Cook for it because it isn't living up to what people expected. Granted, they also don't look at the numbers, so it doesn't really matter. So I just see people not valuing.
Let's talk about things that are 1-for-1s for a second. Because if you're looking at the math that I'm doing here, Pittman, because it's wide receiver, right? So if you're looking at trying to trade within wide receiver, then to be honest with you, I'll tell you what I want is Mike Evans. And that's pretty close. You might be able to get that done, but it's hard to trade position for position. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at running back,
Brandon,
I think what's in a 1-for-1, I think what's more realistic is, and we've said this guy's name a lot, actually, it'd be Donta Foreman Donta Foreman would be the one because you can make the argument that it's like, you really think he could sustain at that clip? And I don't know that he necessarily could. So we'll pick a different name who's maybe not as white hot. You know what I mean? And that would be Najee Harris.
Mhm.
But here's the concern I have with Najee Harris: is that even worth
Jalen
your
White.
time doing it? So it gets tricky. The other one that you might be able to swing in a 1-for-1 would be Miles Sanders, because the trade deadline was kind to Miles. He didn't have his workload corroded into in a very real way. So Miles Sanders would be something that you could do. To be honest with you, though, if those are my options, I'd probably rather just have Pittman. So I think I'd probably try and go more Jason Speed and try and say, like, okay, let's see if we can take Pittman and a piece and see if we could trade up the running back tree to get into a Dalvin Cook or an Alvin Kamara, who was, aside from the one good week.
Leonard Fournette.
I don't want Leonard Fournette. I'm
No,
scared.
his value
I'm
is dropping like
scared.
a stone.
I'm scared. Frankly, you could probably get Pittman for Fournette straight up. And I'm scared
I would
of
avoid
Fournette.
that.
And I don't even want that. I don't want it.
Don't make that.
I'm trying to move my Fournette shares,
Yeah.
not acquire Fournette shares at the deadline.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard to get anything that's like higher up than Cook, because Jonathan Taylor is still Jonathan Taylor, even with the injuries. And frankly, I don't want it.
Aaron Jones.
I would do Aaron Jones if you could do it, but you're going to have to get a piece. You're not going to be able to do
that's a
Pittman for
plus
Aaron
piece.
Jones straight
Yeah.
up. You're going to have to give him something else to go with it. But I would trade for Aaron Jones because
His
they got
numbers are
nothing else. They got nothing else. And they know it. They got nothing else. And A.J. Dillon has looked terrible.
Now, if you're going the other way and wanting to get Pittman or get two pieces back, I mean,
That's a good one. You can do that real quick. What do you want then down the list?
It depends on what you need. Like, what's your depth look like? Do you need another quarterback? Do you have a bye week coming up, like Kyler Murray or somebody? Is there a quarterback?
What do you think Etienne is worth? Because you couldn't even trade Michael Pittman straight up for Etienne right now. You couldn't do it.
Hey,
in PPR, you're out of your mind if you think you can trade Michael Pittman for Travis Etienne, given what Etienne's done recently, and given the fact that very loudly it has been proclaimed he has the entire job in backfield to himself. 3 weeks ago, you could have done that trade, but now the door has been firmly
get Messi
shut.
And go Hunt or Mostert plus.
I'd say Mostert and a piece, maybe you could do. I don't want Kareem Hunt. I'm out. I'm out on that. I'd rather just stand with Pittman.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt's pretty much a glorified handcuff at this point.
But again, I talked about it a little bit in the Discord, which is, right here. You make sure you join that. But the thing that makes it interesting is when they are when they're winning, Hunt is actually being used more, which is, I think, going to be a big change when Deshaun Watson comes back.
Okay, but that's all speculative.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
all
but
speculative.
Again, I'm throwing it out there because of the fact that he does see more snaps when they are winning. Not surprising because
but that's because they don't need to play Chubb as much. I don't really read
Correct.
into.
Yeah.
But you are there. If there's something there, but I don't think Cleveland.
I'll tell you what I'd want more than anything is Khalil Herbert. I want all the Khalil Herbert shares I can get my greedy little hands on, because David Montgomery is about to just get left by the side of the road, and they're already going to Khalil Herbert on critical downs in the red zone. They're seeing what they have in the future. That's their back of the future. So I would tell you, like, things to invest in, Khalil Herbert's way near the top of the list, and right now it's actually still somewhat achievable. So I'd say that would be a trade target. And then if you're looking for something to avoid, I want to avoid like the entire Washington backfield unless I can get Antonio Gibson for very, very, very cheap. Because they don't know what they're doing anymore. And that team's in a horrible dumpster fire nightmare scenario. I find it impossible to believe that the problems the front office is having won't eventually bleed down to the actual team. So, and also Brian Robinson, cool story, totally useless. In PPR, at least. Like, nice story. He had 8 carries last week. He's averaging, if you take out, it's a little loosey-goosey, but if you take out the couple, like the 2 big runs he has, the 15, and when I say big runs, I mean like the 15-yard run he had in his second week and the 20-yard run he had the week after, he averages like 2.2 yards per carry. It's pathetic. So, cool story, not interested. But Khalil Herbert, though. Khalil Herbert and Donta Foreman. are things right now that people don't know what to do with. So it's worth inquiring about that. But the question I have is, would you trade Michael Pittman straight up for Khalil Herbert?
I wouldn't.
See, but if I could get Khalil Herbert and something else,
Then I'm
that's doing it. Then I'm
then
100% doing it.
but
Especially if I need a running back.
we can go all day. I think we've given Jose a lot to work with.
We actually need to kind of put a PSA out there. 10 minutes to kickoff.
Yeah, I
Get
don't
'em
see any.
I don't either.
questions?
I don't either.
Yeah, okay.
I'm helping. you.
Yeah,
Keep
but
going.
if you have Thursday questions, please get them in. Those are, of course, priority. Anthony, picked. Oh, I love these questions. Pick 2: Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Travis Etienne.
What is your team? How are you not starting all 3 of these?
Yeah, like what's
Jones and
what
Etienne.
is your team? Okay. Yeah, we don't have time to bog down.
Goodness. I would have to say Jones and Cook. Like not that I have anything against ATN. I feel like those guys, like Jones, you have to say. I feel like Jones is one because, like you said, there's the only option in Green Bay right now.
Now, you want to know what my rankings are? Here's my rankings for running back week 9 that you can find on importantnonsense.com. Etienne 6, Jones 7, Cook 8. So there you go.
Oh wow.
They're all top 10 guys. That's why I'm saying, what is your
Yeah.
team? Like I would like to know your actual team because I have a feeling you're starting something somewhere else that you probably shouldn't be. But if you're asking me a literal question, Jones and Etienne for me. It's close.
I go Jones Cook. What about you, Jason?
Jones Etienne.
All right.
I said that to lead it off. That's why I was
He
like,
did. He
Oh,
did.
good. Okay.
Let's go to the next one.
Oh, here we go. M. Gonzalez. It's ugly, but full PPR. Which running back? And of course, depending on everything, AJ Dillon, Deion Jackson, or Gus Drake. I personally, for me, because I have this issue, I'm avoiding the Ravens' backfield as much as I can this week because I don't trust it to begin with, and I'm not waiting to Monday to keep Gus Edwards in and have him be inactive. I just don't want to deal with
both. You have both, but the problem is that Kenyon Drake has a good game, and then he had 11 carries for 5 yards and got benched, and then he had another good game. I don't know what to tell you about that. I don't think anyone does. So to be honest with you, as much as I hate this, it's Deion Jackson.
it's Deion
Yeah,
Jackson.
it just
What it
feels
is.
like because I really don't think John Taylor's going to play. I personally don't.
I don't think he is either. So that's why I'm saying that.
So I'm going to say it's Deion Jackson, and I don't think it's very close.
Mr. Gonzalez has another question. Let's get to that one.
He has Pitts, and I'm guessing Taysom Hill.
I'm going to go with Taysom Hill as my assumption as well.
Which makes it Pitts.
Taysom Hill, and if you'd have asked me this question in the preseason, I'd have laughed at you.
Yeah.
I'd have laughed in your little face. I'd have mocked you. And the answer is Taysom Hill.
Wow.
So
That's
we're
how
split.
mighty the mighty.
I don't
have
even
fallen.
want to say it. Like I don't want to say.
No,
play
it hurt
Hill.
my heart.
I'm not.
I'm gonna
say it.
die 30 seconds before I actually otherwise would have because I said that sentence.
Oh, sorry. Anthony has take DJ Moore your flex play ATN.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just simple. Yeah, sit DJ Moore down.
Okay.
I still like it. But
Jason,
I
you
know.
really want to sit
I'm
here and
just
make the
really
argument?
big on. You
You're
know,
gonna
I'm
bench
big
it-
on
you
DJ
wanna
Moore.
you want to bench a top 10 running back for DJ Moore? Okay.
In PPR, this is a
Bold.
PPR league.
Oh, that's
Bold.
fair.
Bold.
So okay.
Bold strategy.
PA. I hope PA Parento for those Leafs fans out there. Drake Wilson Jr.
The 8 people that got that joke loved it. No one else knows what you're talking about.
Kenya Drake, Jeff Wilson Jr. or Algier hat PPR.
Algier, if
If
Patterson
we're
doesn't get
yeah.
cleared,
Yeah.
not close,
Then
and
Drake.
then Kenyon Drake. Yeah.
I'm still doing Algier regardless because Wilson Jr. I don't trust this week because it's a new team. He's not even going to be the starter. And again, I don't like the Ravens backfield. I don't. That's just maybe on me and the Saints run defense. I think it's been pretty good. So I'm going Algier because I think Algier will still have a role even if Cardell Patterson comes back.
Okay.
And,
I'm a little scared of the Huntley Algier split. No. Put that back up. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
hold on. Yeah.
I
But-
jumped the gun.
No, but we're good. We're more or less in alignment. No, what I meant was put Mr. Gonzalez's thing back up. He was a monster. He was an utter monster in that league. It was not fair. It was like a cheat code. Moving on. Call back to earlier.
Daniel
Okay.
Ward again. Last question. 12-team PPR.
Don't believe you, Daniel.
I don't
I
either.
trade away
That's
Daniel
fine, by
Jones,
the way, but I don't
Rondale,
believe you either.
MVS. I receive Burrow. This guy's the noob, only has Tua. Okay, I got. Let's all
Sorry,
read this.
This is
It's
like
not-
making me go cross-eyed.
uh,
Okay.
So essentially, I think it's Daniel Jones, Rondale, MVS for Burrow.
I prefer Tua.
Oh, I see. You're trading away Danny Dimes, Rondale,
Yeah.
and MVS to get Joe Burrow.
I think that's okay.
It's fine.
I don't think
I still
Burrow's-
prefer Tua.
It worries me he doesn't have Chase, so his value is dipped a bit. And I gotta agree with Jason. I would probably even want Tua more.
20 for that.
But the only thing is, yeah.
What is that?
You're probably gonna have to pay up a little
Hang
bit
on, sorry. I'm
more.
doing math while I try to think. And that's always a dangerous combo.
Smoke starts spilling out of his ears.
No, the
see the-
filter that prevents the stream of conscious swearing starts to fail. And that's what I mean. It gets.
Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. We have a question.
Yeah.
Philip Dorsett
Oh.
or Chris Moore? I love these
Oh
questions.
God.
That's beautiful.
Chris
Beautiful
Moore.
question. Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I would go Dorsett.
I agree. I would also lean
But
Dorsett.
I mean, this is like bottom of the barrel.
It is. I'm going more
That's
off
why
the
it's
fact that they
fun.
said Chris Moore was going to have an expanded role tonight.
Ooh.
There was an actual tweet about this.
On
I can
where?
find it.
I'll work on that. Give me a
Yeah,
second.
it's actually in our Discord. It's in the fantasy feed if you want to go look. It's published through Fantasy Pros. They said Chris Moore was having an expanded role tonight with Cooks out. So that's literally what I'm basing that on, because we're that far down the list that I'm going off news reports at that point. Always scary.
I did not expect this to be our only Thursday night question.
No, me either. But it's that bad. Well, what are the other questions going to be? Do I start Dameon Pierce? Yeah, probably. Do I
More
start
than
my
likely.
Do I start my Eagles? Yeah. Do I start the Eagles defense? Yeah. Like, what else do what
You
are
start
my
the
what are
Texans
my
defense? No.
No. Yeah. Do I start any Texan that's not Dameon Pierce? No. Like, maybe this exact scenario. So I'm curious as to like what the other questions were even going to be, Jordan. Like, not to be dismissive of it.
No,
but
I agree. I honestly thought we got none before we got this.
There it is.
Let's
Chris
go
Moore.
back to this quickly.
So I think here's what I'll say. Based
yeah,
on
go
my
ahead.
math, I think you're overpaying for Burrow, but because you're doing a 3-for-1, like I said, it devalues all of your own pieces. So if your team is loaded and you literally don't care about any of those three pieces and all you want is a QB upgrade, yeah, pull the trigger. Like if that's all ancillary pieces and you don't care, yeah, it's probably fine. But I will say, based on just raw math, you are overpaying. But again, when you do a 3-for-1, you're probably going to overpay, but you devalue your own assets by doing that way.
And you should also make sure that you pick up something that's worthwhile.
Yeah, I don't know what your waiver wire situation is, but best of luck to you, sir.
He says he has a stack team and yet has MVS there. So
Well, I'm saying this might be the last three players on his bench. That might be
That's fair.
his two bench players that he doesn't need, and
Yeah.
Daniel Jones as backup quarterback. I could see how you could get in this scenario where, given their ADPs on draft day, MVS was like a 12th round pick, Rondale was around the same thing. So you're dealing with like back end bench players
and
that
Daniel
have,
Jones, you probably got off the waiver wire.
right,
so,
or you got as
yeah.
a very late pick.
Yeah.
So you're trying to parlay your scraps into Joe Burrow. So
Yeah.
more power to you.
good luck.
I'm trying to see where we are now. We have some.
You have Mike Manning confirming that guy. That we were
Yeah.
talking
No,
about
like
is
I
a
know. I think
redraft
we've
league. Yeah,
covered most
can
of these.
move on from there.
Let's just do this one. Anthony again. Tony Pollard or CH rest of the season. I'm gonna say Tony Pollard. Because CH is not he is in a committee, and at least
have a
Tony
CSU.
Pollard is the same. But at least Tony Pollard, when he does get the starting job, does something with it,
Yeah.
and doesn't need Zeke to spell him that much to lose his value. That I don't know.
Well, and he's
plus
only
I'm
going to
not
touch the ball as many as 14 times. So it
Plus,
doesn't matter.
I'm also not convinced that Zeke's going to come back healthy out of the bye and just immediately be ready to go. Whereas I got a lot of data on CEH just isn't that good. And if you're losing your job to Isaiah Pacheco, who also isn't that good, and you've also already lost a huge
lost it
part
to-
of your job to Jerick McKinnon, and that's when I go back to my like, what year is it conversation? Like, what year is it? Like, because I can't tell anymore. We're talking about Kenyon Drake and Jerick McKinnon, and like I feel like I've gone back in time. Like it's
Latavius
so,
Murray.
Latavius Murray. Yeah, it's like 2016.
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind here.
Where is Will Fuller when you need him?
Oh God. Don't- not get into
Christian Youth Ministry Training Camp is my guess for
so
his new career.
Thomas said he will go for Gibson. Back to his question.
Not a kid.
Uh,
Yeah,
Way to
go
the
do
work.
that. Let us know how that works out.
Physio X956 from Twitch says yo, and his question is 14 team league positions depth is tight. Is trading Barkley crazy? His name recognition might help get more for him.
Again, it really depends on what you get.
If you are
and what you
looking
need.
for depth, if you're saying depth is tight, it depends what you can get. If you do a 3-for-1, get 3 good pieces for like it depends. Like this is one where I have to see your team. Are you doing what? Like I don't know.
Here's what I'll say.
Join the
let's-
Discord is what I'll say.
Okay, we'll do that too. It's a good idea.
Always do that.
$1 a
If you're-
month, guys.
And this gets into some weird math that's hard to explain, that only seems to make sense to me, but it does work. I've got lots of data to prove it works, but it's hard to explain. What you're talking about here is you'd have to be able to return X like value coefficient, right? So let's just, for the sake of round numbers, let's just call it 65. You would need to be able to reap back something broadly equivalent to about 65 basis points in value. So let's put that
Including a
into
running back.
let's put that into math that makes sense for people. So that you're talking about something like Devonta Smith for me is about 24 basis points. So you're
Okay.
talking about something like that, 24, and it's like 24, and then let's talk about a running back that would be about that. Khalil Herbert. I love Khalil Herbert, so we'll do it that way. So you got 24, and Khalil Herbert's about 25 basis points. So what is that?
59.
Okay, great. So you need another
Or
15.
49.
49. So you need another, let's call it 15. You need another 15 off that. And something that would be equivalent to 15,
Like-
Tyler Algier is about 15. Benjamin is a little less than that. But that's hard to do. So if you go to quarterback, Tua is about a 15. Tight end's a wasteland. But it would be something
what's
like Zach
Olave?
Ertz.
Could you do just a 2 instead of?
Would be a lot. But that's a good one.
But if
That's
you do
still-
Olave and
Olave is
Herbert,
27. So,
Yeah, so okay. So
here's the hard part about wide receiver, that area. It's all about the same. They don't fluctuate
Yeah.
much, starting from basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Once you get out of the top 15 at wide receiver, you got a whole glut of guys that there's not a lot of variance. So it's about the same.
about Olave, I know like that's one of them. If I have Olave, I'm not trading him.
Yeah, I know. That's the
I am
hard
not.
part about
I am
that.
not touching.
well,
or
that's
I'm-
the hard
again,
part
if
about
you're going
this.
for Barkley,
No, I
you have
get
to
that.
realize
I
what you're
get
giving
that.
up,
But I
too.
feel like
much like Chubb.
yeah. Anyways,
All right.
let's move
But
on.
I think we've answered the question.
Mikey44, also from Twitch. What's up, guys? Please talk me through this. 12 team, half point PPR. Can I drop Montgomery since everyone hates him to make room for Patterson?
No.
I have Khalil Herbert.
I'd
and
much
buys
rather
from bench.
rather
Other
drop
running
Edwards.
backs.
That's how much
I'd rather drop Gus Edwards. I'd
I
rather
just
drop
wouldn't
Deion
pick up-
Jackson.
Yeah.
I'd rather drop. First of all, if you really don't want Montgomery that bad,
trade
You're
him.
going to have to
you
add
could
somebody. to him.
trade Montgomery, like, to get something else. Frankly, if you hate him that bad, you could trade him for something else that you could probably stash on the IR slot, because I think that's the hand jive we're talking about here. Is you've got a that would be the reason why you'd want to drop him to make room for Patterson, because Patterson's probably in his IR slot and he needs to call him back up. But Montgomery's not who you're cutting there. Montgomery has trade value. What's Gus Edwards' trade value according to my chart? I don't even know offhand. I got to look it up. Give me a second.
12.
I will.
No, it'll be more than that.
It might be more than that.
I don't know.
No, it's more than that. Running back is expensive, Jason. It gets really pricey.
Well, you can watch
Uh,
me easily drop Edwards in every league, or
Okay.
Drake, or anybody else. I mean, I will do that all day. I could care less what the rest is on my bench.
Okay. Well, any of the things he has trade value. So it gets into a situation where, frankly, what I might do is I would take Montgomery and something else I don't really want and try and swing a 2-for-1 before the weekend. That's what I want to do. I want to take Montgomery and something else you don't like, Mikey, staple it together and see if I can combine that into one usable piece from
Like
somebody
send
else
Deion
in your
Jackson
league.
to the Taylor owner.
Sure, if you want to do that. I don't. Maybe, but
That's how I would
more,
pivot that.
I was thinking more like wide receiver. Like, take one of my back end wide receivers and David Montgomery and try and parlay it into something I need. Because I'm sure somebody in your league is completely screwed at running back. Every league right now has at least one person that has no healthy running backs. So find that person, offer him Montgomery, staple something else to it to create a roster spot, and see if you can rake something across. And by the way, like, for example, okay, we could do a thought experiment here, by the way, on something. You could take Montgomery and you could trade Montgomery straight up for Mike Williams and then just put Mike Williams in the IR slot. You'll technically lose that deal on math, but if that's what you need to do,
Yeah. That's
could do
also if
I'd rather
you-
do the other original plan.
But that's also you have to be confident that you make the playoffs because otherwise you're shooting yourself in the foot.
yeah, so
At least
I
I
don't like
think so.
that. I don't like that plan as much. I would rather
Um,
take Montgomery and something else I don't need. Staple.
Yeah, but I like
and-
the idea. I think that's smart. But yeah, I would trade Monk. I wouldn't drop him for Patterson to be
You
honest.
can't drop him. He's not
Um,
droppable.
Yeah, and I wouldn't
Deion
drop
Jackson is infinitely more droppable.
I know that Jason
Like-
would drop Edwards, but I wouldn't drop any of those guys. I would have like I don't really think Patterson is going to come back and lead that backfield. At least not right away. I'm not as confident. We'll see this week. Arthur Smith is a maniac, so we'll see.
You could also try and trade.
It's
Cordell
also the
Patterson.
Chargers.
I got no problem
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, their
Yeah.
run defense is something else, man. To the
Okay.
extent that they even have a run defense.
So Jose, just
Let's go
following
back to
up with
Jose.
the Pittman
Oh, yeah.
stuff. He needs running back. He has Justin Jefferson.
This is the
Higgins,
same
and-
team that I've seen that I keep making fun of you for because it's like your wide receiver room is so stacked.
Yeah.
Yep.
If those are your running backs, yes, go get a running back. If you have to pair somebody, do it. Like pair AJ Dillon or even Hines. Like Hines now in Buffalo, maybe somebody will like that.
Bite into
Tantalized
that.
by it.
Yeah, you need to get that done before the weekend, though.
Yeah,
Hines,
I
before it
also,
actually
get,
happens.
I also get why he's trying to get the stack in Miami if he has to.
Yeah. That's
Because I
smart.
believe in this league, Jose has asked us this, but I believe in this league he has position limits, which is why he only has 4 and 4.
Mm.
I don't like leagues like that. I've played them before. It drives me nuts, actually.
Yeah, but Pickett has gone up massively in value. Higgins has gone up massively in value.
I don't know who Huggins is, but
Yeah,
I think it's Higgins.
if it's I'm quite confident it's T Higgins, guys. Come on,
No, it's not Bob Huggins. From
come
West
on now,
Virginia.
like
That was a good one there.
Yeah, you like
Pulling that one
Yeah,
out.
that
I
was for you,
appreciate that.
Jason.
That's who when I read it initially, I'm like, why is Bob on there? That's weird.
yeah.
So I think this is Physio X, because he's talking about 14-team league. Position scarcity is depth is hard to come by. Consider trading Barkley.
No, this is Aaron
No,
Cantu.
this is Andrew.
This is Aaron Cantu.
But no, I think that's
415,
because
or
I think
is-
it's literally the same question.
it might be, but let's go through it.
It's the same question. Trading Barkley, 14-person league, depth's not an issue.
Oh, I
know
see.
that. So I think it's the same
We
person.
it probably is. We've covered that
Uh,
already. So
yeah, okay.
rewind on the stream.
Let's go. We've answered this one. It's my favorite question so far.
Well, now I
It-
pivoted. I agree with Neil here.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, kickoffs happen, so it doesn't
Kickoff's
matter.
already happened. It's too late now.
So Aaron asked again, is there any scenario where Chuba Hubbard's
No.
value?
Some
exceeds
people
Foreman?
think so. I disagree.
it won't be. It won't be this week. Probably won't be next week. Maybe down the line, but I think Foreman's safe for now. But I wouldn't rule it out.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? The game
He
in the
likes it on
system.
YouTube better. I don't know.
Game in the system. Game in the system, Aaron.
Anyways, I think yeah. So maybe down the line. I don't think it will happen anytime soon.
I don't. I've seen both of them play football. One of them's pretty good, and the other one's Chuba Hubbard. And now we'll move on back to Mr. Gonzalez. Will Pierce have 85 receptions? Ugh.
I'm assuming this is Alec, and I'm going to
Well, it's
say.
the only Pierce I'm aware of that's not Damien. So
Well, that's why I'm asking. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
Damien. He
I
might.
don't-
I
would
think
say
this
that's
is,
closer.
No, I think this is sarcasm because this came up when we were talking when we're like, oh, why is there no Thursday night questions? And Neil was being like, oh, what about this? What about that? And I think that question popped up.
oh, okay.
So I assume it's
Okay.
sarcasm. If it is Alec Pierce, probably not because look at his quarterback.
Yeah,
let's move
right,
on.
right. I assume it's
Don't
sarcasm.
ask me about it. Let's move on. Oh, sorry. I don't know if we answered this already for
No, we
Daniel.
didn't. We're here. Henry Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, AJ Brown. Oh yeah, okay. This is the
Yeah,
Nah,
these are
Daniel.
context after the fact questions, and that's
Yeah,
why
well,
I
this is
put out
also,
my-
and this is also
Him
Daniel's
flexing.
flexing about his team. Pay attention to the Derrick Henry injury report, by the way. Let's
Yeah,
go
'cause
back
you'll
to Aaron.
definitely
then.
want to make sure that you get Hilliard if that's the case.
which Detroit
Tight end or Seattle.
tight
end.
I mean, we don't know what Brock Wright is. He's a name at this point. Is he talking about tight end room? Or are you talking about the certain?
I'm assuming that he's talking about which one you'd prefer.
Like Neil's look at Neil trying to.
Right
Kinda
now,
like-
right now, I would go Fant.
It's like fried my brain. Wait,
okay.
hold on, hold
Yeah,
on,
no,
hold on,
he's- yeah, yeah,
hold
yeah.
on.
We both.
There,
yeah.
there we go. There we go. There we go. Pick a
feel-
tight end from either room.
I feel like
Pick a
Brock-
body.
Is it Brock Wright? I feel like I'm getting that name.
me
Jason, am I getting that name right?
It is. Yep, Brock Wright, James
Yeah.
Mitchell.
I'm going to.
I'd much rather go Mitchell here. I'm not gonna lie. If you're
You know,
Of
this is the time-
Detroit.
You know what? You know what? I pivoted because the fact that we don't even know who it's going to be. You're gonna have to go Seattle, and I don't even like Seattle's tight ends. Like
Yes, you
Will
do.
Disley, maybe
between-
get a touchdown.
yeah,
Like no offense, no offense, useless. You can't
No,
do
he's
anything.
not.
No fan. So
I'm-
I think
I'm-
the only player you can consider thinking if this is the way to go is Will Disley, and you're banking on a touchdown.
So fun fact, Arizona's really bad against the tight end.
There you go.
So with that in mind, I'm actually going to play Noah Fant because the last time they roasted him. He's actually my start of the week because of this very reason. Last time he went 6 for 60 yards, putting up 12 fantasy points. Disley went 1 of 2 for 17 yards. So if you're going to play it, I'd much rather play Fant this week just because for some reason they decided to pick Fant that one game. It could easily be Disley, but again, I still think that they're going to not believe that Fant's a thing after watching all the tape. So Cardinals can easily get lulled to sleep on that one and get caught with their pants down.
What do you think, Neil?
Neil?
Any answer?
His brain's on fire. He's like, why is this a question?
Well, it's definitely one of the Seattle guys. It's a coin flip between Noah Fant or Will Disley. Pick your poison. Whichever one you believe is gonna fall into the end zone is the answer. But I'm be lying if I told you I felt strongly one way or the other. So Jason at least has a compelling argument. Not that I 100% believe it, but it's as good as anything I got for you.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
hold on.
They already scored.
Mike, you don't know what the hand jive is? Yeah, even Jason gets it.
I don't
It's
know.
Greece.
I don't know. what that
That's how
is.
I know
The
it.
hand jive is a dance move from the 70s. It's also a colloquial term for screwing somebody over. Thoughts on Deshaun Watson's fantasy value this year? Is he worth picking up?
As I said on the wire show for like the past
Yeah, I
3 weeks.
I'm gonna say if you haven't picked him up yet, if he's there, pick him up because he should be picked up in every league by now.
Correct.
Like it's
Get
getting to
close.
that point. I mean, like keep your soul at the door. Okay, we're playing fantasy football here. There's no room for morals. All right, pick him up.
There's some room for morals. But if you really want to win, yeah, I could see the argument for picking him up if he's available
especially if your
immediately.
quarterbacks are bad. Like if you have like a Mahomes, don't waste the bench.
Yeah, don't
spot.
waste your time.
You have your
You
bye
don't
week
need him as a
done.
backup.
Yeah, or
So
if you
here-
have
here's a
Josh
fun
Allen.
thing.
But if you've
The
been
game
starting,
started.
if you've been starting the Kirk Cousins and Derek Carrs of the world, yeah, go.
That's
go nuts.
you know what? That's actually what I have on a team, and I wish Deshaun Watson was available because that's
Go pick up
exactly.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay,
Or
right.
Justin Fields.
Nope.
No,
Right
Field-
from now on, Jimmy Garoppolo is the man after the bye.
Okay,
Like
Jason, let's.
you need to. I'm telling. Look at his schedule coming up. It's amazing. I could care less.
That's your fault. That's
Well, that's rude.
that's your fault, Mike.
You need to watch
I don't know
more
what
movies,
to-
Mike.
I don't know what to tell
That's
you.
your
Like,
issue.
Mike, never seen Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Oh,
That's a classic.
Also, just a hand. I forgot that was in that one. That's
yeah. The Time Warp?
yes.
Come on. Jason and I'll go do our own show for people that are over 35. Like,
I just want to.
Tegan. I don't even know. Quit
some nameless guy that I've never seen before score.
Tight end.
So,
That's
good.
why.
Good.
so if you
I
had
thought it would be
first
Brevin,
touchdown-
and of course not.
All my
It's
Eagles
Tegan.
defensive shares are already in the toilet. Perfect.
Yep.
All right, guys,
Wow.
we're gonna pause here If you have more questions, ask away. We are still here to answer your questions. However, we're going to do this a little differently than what we've done in the past. Now, what we're going to do, instead of doing game breakdowns, which, frankly, we're not going to do right now, what we're going to do is a new segment called Start Sits with Jason Draven. Start Sits with the Nerd is what we're going to do. So we're going to turn it over to Jason, and we're going to talk about, we're going to go through all of Jason's starts and sits of the week while we wait for more questions to populate in here. So, Jason, let's do your start. Let's do your start of the week at running back to lead this off.
Oh man, that's tough.
It's
Start of the
Cordarrelle
week.
Patterson. Scroll
Thank
up.
you. I was like, I'll get there. Okay, yeah. Clearly, so we already kind of touched on it. The fact that he is back, I do believe that against the Chargers, he will be just fine. Whether he's hurt or not, I expect him to come back immediately, take over that role. He won't need very much. I expect him to get at least 15 fantasy points just because of the fact that he also catches the ball. And last time I checked, they don't care about who the ball's going to. They're not going to throw it a whole lot. Patterson's the guy out. And now that London is completely useless, it might go to Pitts, but I still think that Patterson's going to see enough points at PPR to be completely just a massive value for you.
All right. I know Jordan's a little more pessimistic on that. To be
Doesn't
honest
believe
with
me
you.
at all.
To be honest with you, I'm in the middle of those two ideas, just because I've seen
It's a
I
confidence
have
play for me.
seen Patterson play for years, and when he's out there, he can definitely do some damage. Geno or Fields, rest of the season? Interesting question. Interesting question here.
Fields until the bye, and then you get out of Fields.
Sorry, I was still processing Jason saying Patterson's an easy 15.
Yeah.
I
He's
don't
going
know.
to get a touchdown. There's
Geno's been
6.
playing so well, and I'm just worried that Fields is going to bottom out at some point. He's going to have one of those games where you're like, "Oh my God, why is this guy playing quarterback in the NFL?" Whereas Geno has been consistently good. So I'm going to say Geno Smith.
All right. And I'm also going to say Geno Smith. And if you would have asked me this question in the preseason, that's another one where I would have laughed in your face and made all kinds of derisive, childish comments. And what a year! What a year for the NFL and for fantasy football and just for everyone. Jason, you know what? Let's do your we'll do your sit of the week for running back. We'll stick with positions, and you'll need to go to Buffalo
Thank
for
you.
that.
Yeah, and it's Devin Singletary. It's more just the fact that I could easily see them start to ease in Hines here. They want to start getting his usage. This shouldn't really be a very competitive game. It can easily get out of hand, which you would think would go perfectly to Singletary's usage. But again, I just don't see that happening. I really think that Cook and Hines are going to get a decent amount, with Cook seeing more. But it's just one of the facts that, man, I don't see this being competitive. Even I think the 47.5 for the over-under is way too generous. I think it's definitely going to be under that. And the 13 points for Buffalo seems like it's too high. So I'd go moneyline Buffalo and the under there. But with that in mind, I mean, that's just not a good sign for Singletary and his usage. He could very easily be out in the third quarter, and then you have or even potentially the half. I doubt it's a half, but again, at least the third quarter, he's more than likely going to be out, and they're going to be using the other two backs to kind of get Hines to see the offense and Cook just more reps because he needs it.
I actually agree with you here. Like I'd still play him. I don't know if I'd sit him because I think.
Well,
but
you have 6 teams on bye, so
no. I know. But and I know, like you, I know. But all I'm saying is that what you're saying is correct, and eventually, I think it will start to like turn to a committee because I think they got nines to actually, do something in the backfield. Whereas like the Colts never used him for some reason, even though they kept saying, "Oh, we're gonna use him. Oh, he's gonna be part of offense," and he get like 6 touches a game. But yeah, like I gotta agree though. I think they're gonna ease in Hines and they want Cook to have the reps. But for right now, Singletary is the lead back in that.
I could see Hines having a role. Look, I agree with the general principle. I just don't think you're realistically going to be able to sit Singletary. So it's difficult to name him a sit of the week for me because you've got 6 teams on bye and he's been too good. I really don't see a scenario where you're going to be able to sit him. But if you're talking about long term, I could see Hines cutting into his workload, especially in games where they're more competitive and they do need to throw more because they've always wanted a pass catching dump off back, and they've tried. How many people have they tried? Matt Breida, help me. We can go through
They
the
tried to
years
get
on this.
McKissick, and then he reneged. So
Yep, tried to do that, didn't work. They tried Zach Moss
Moss,
once upon
yeah.
a time to do it. It failed miserably. They've tried a number of different players in that job, and they've never been able to get somebody to stick. Well, Nyheim Hines, for me, is far and away better than any of those players, especially given, and we don't want to read too much into reports out of practice, right? But apparently, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs have been very impressed with Nyheim Hines in the early reps,
Oh God.
saying, "Oh, we got to get this guy involved because he's too fast." And I'm like, okay, it's interesting that they felt the need to
Say that
tweet
verbally.
that out, like, and put that
Have
out
record.
there. Yeah, have it on the record. So, and Nyheim Hines significantly better than any of these journeymen they've tried in that role before. So I could
Yep.
see a scenario where he has a real job at some point. It's kind of funny because on last week's show, I was making fun of people, just mocking them openly about Nyheim Hines has no value. Nyheim Hines has no value. You can go look it up.
You were right about that, though.
I have been right about that
You were right about
historically.
that.
Until
And that's
now.
not on,
Now, now Nyheim Hines actually might have value.
yeah, but
Might.
that's not on Nyheim Hines, though.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with Nyheim
No.
Hines. It has nothing to do with Nyheim Hines. It has everything to do with the Colts don't want to use him. Well, that's out of the equation now. And the Bills, Jordan, earmuff it for me. The Bills have proven to be a lot smarter than the Colts over the last 5 years.
Well, I don't know why you're
Sorry.
listening to that. You're telling me something I already know, man.
Yeah, it's but let's move on because we can talk. We can't spend all night talking about Nyheim Hines or the Bills running circles around the Colts coaching staff.
Circle the wagons, baby.
Let's talk about wide receivers. Jason, you've got a start of the week here in Green Bay.
Yeah. And it's because he's back. I mean, it's Alan Lazard. The
Are we
dude
positive he's back before you go all the way through this?
I'm
You positive?
positive. No, but I'm pretty sure. I'm
Okay.
giving you my stamp of approval
Okay.
that he will be back.
He's
Okay,
got his
let's,
Jason's sense
okay.
tingling. He knows.
Let's just couch that a little bit with the idea that this player missed last week and is not guaranteed to be playing this week, and then go ahead.
Well, he's returned to practice, which means he's ramping up. I'm assuming he's going to play. There, I'll say the assume.
Okay, let's just
But-
give the appropriate qualifiers. Is all I ask.
That's fine. But he has the 5th best matchup of the week. I mean, they're giving up. It's the Lions who are going to put up points. They're going to have to throw 32.4 fantasy points given up by the Lions to the wide receiver position. And currently, right now, he's the 36th best wide receiver in fantasy. Now, if you actually look at the average, it moves him up to wide receiver 24, which is even more impressive in PPR, and should really be starting for you the rest of the year.
Okay, and let's do a sit of the week real quick for wide receiver while we still have momentum. Let's. It's back to Atlanta. Back to Atlanta we go.
Yeah, and it's annoying. It really just depresses me because
Football in
it's Drake
general,
London.
I agree with you.
Yes.
Football
Because
in
he looks so
2022,
good. No.
100%.
It's the fact that Drake London looks so good when they give him the ball, and then they just stop doing it and decide, oh, let's run it instead, and they win, which is it's just giving the coaching staff a great idea to just continue to run the ball. So my set of the week for the wide receiver position is Drake London. Granted, Chargers aren't great. They're allowing 27.4 fantasy points to the wide receiver, but you would actually have to pass for them to have that affect it. I mean, you can't put up the points if you're not passing the ball. And they won't have to because the Chargers have one of the worst run defense, if not the worst run defense in the league. It's depressing. And the fact that I just expect both the teams to really run the ball because Chargers also don't have anybody to throw to. Allen's still out. Williams is still out. Palmer might play. This is going to be an ugly game that I don't want to watch. So
It's the Eckler show, baby. Austin Eckler to
but
the moon.
today he popped up on the injury report.
Yeah, but they're already debunking that.
I know, but
they're being careful with him because
Yeah,
he's all
that's
they
what I-
have. They need him to play that game because that's it. They got nothing else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with this, Jason. Though, like
and then
London,
Patterson's
like,
back.
I kind of feel bad for him because I feel like he's kind of in the same situation with Pitts. They just don't throw the ball. They like to just run the ball. I hate teams like that think, oh, you need a good run game. Like we're doing football in 1950s and
We're wearing leather helmets.
leather
I should
helmets
buy
and
one of
the
those leather helmets. and
doing
wear it for
4-6
this show.
defense. Like
Yeah, I brought it on the waiver show on Monday that surprisingly Derrick Henry had 32 carries, 32 rush attempts, and the only teams that were close were the Falcons, who had 31 with their two backs, and then you actually go above it if you add everybody else that actually rushed the ball. But it was just mind blowing to me that it took 2 running backs for them to do it, but they were still
Yeah,
right
that
next to
is
the
true.
Titans. With the fact that they started Malik Willis.
And that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like Tennessee's in that group that think that they just need the ball because they have no wide receivers. Like at least right now, they have Robert Woods.
Until Treylon Burks comes back, their
And
only
that's
wide
if he
receiver.
can give you anything.
Well,
Like,
their only wide receiver healthy is Robert Woods,
and
and we love Bobby Trees.
Yeah.
Bobby Trees is
it's
my
sad
age.
for Robert Woods. Yeah.
Bobby Trees is my age out there, like trying to get it done for you, and
off knee injury,
trying to catch the ball from from Malik Willis. It's not exactly where I think any of these people thought they would be in their career at this moment. We're going to do a quick question. Is Juju a viable flex play for PPR? Yes, he is.
Yes.
I would need to know your other options to answer your question more thoroughly, but yes, he is.
we like Juju a lot this week, actually.
What do I have Juju ranked at? This is the voice I'm going to do the show in moving forward. I've got Juju ranked at 36, firmly in flex territory.
I feel like you need to do like a big voice for movies.
Oh, I could do that. Well, Jason, speaking of big voice, let's have you use your big voice to kind of do tight end here real quick, because you already covered it, so I think you can do it quick. Because your start of the week, you already tipped your hand to it.
Yeah,
it was.
I brought it up. It's Noah Fant again. The 6 for.
Well, you have Disley / Fant here, so
yeah. It's both. I mean, we'll give you the coin flip. I did have them both there. It's just the fact that in the last game, Fant was the one who got the receptions. Either way, Seahawks are absolutely atrocious against the tight end. So if you get the opportunity.
Oh, no.
Cardinals and Seahawks, they both are bad.
Right. I agree.
You should play Ertz, definitely. But
and your sit of the week is a former Lion.
Yeah, and TJ Hawkinson. He got traded, and they expect him to be a top 12 tight end this week, which I'm not buying into. Absolutely love the idea, just not this week. It's going to take him a little bit to pick up the offense. There's too many other issues. Even with 6 teams on bye, I just don't see him going for the 2 touchdowns, which he would probably need to be a tight end 12 or over 80 yards in his first game. And again, it's against Commanders who this game could be more interesting, but I kind of doubt it.
All right, and then let's round it out with quarterbacks. We'd already kind of touched on this because it was one of the listener questions. But you had a sad-looking 45-year-old man as your sit of the week. So let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, it's Tom Brady.
That's not. I didn't do that to him. I'm also not the one putting him in those hats on the sideline every week. I've been wearing these hats my whole life. He just started. That's on him.
Yeah, there's too much going on in his life clearly, but he's my QB sit of the week. Tougher matchup. The Rams only allow 14.5 fantasy points to the quarterback. This game is going to be ugly. I don't expect either team to really get an offense flowing. They both have okay defenses, but again, they're going to be grinding each other out. It's just, I don't think this is going to be his get right game. I think it's going to be, next week against the Seahawks. So this is just going to be a rough game for him, and I don't trust him as a top 12 quarterback this week. I mean, even with his weapons.
There was somebody you liked a lot more, a long-haired individual from Florida, also in Florida.
Yeah, the beautiful locks are coming into play here with start of the week and Trevor Lawrence. Best matchup for the quarterback position against the Raiders, 23.4 fantasy points to the quarterback position. I mean,
the Raiders are bad. They are very bad.
Should have all this weapons.
I will not debate you on that. The Raiders are bad, and their secondary's bad, and it's all bad.
The fact that Etienne is catching passes makes it easy against the slot. The Raiders are one of the worst matches, or one of the best matchups. So Christian Kirk should easily, or Evan Ingram should both have decent games this week. I would not be surprised if they are just able to have their way against the Raiders. And not really surprising to anybody because the Raiders have looked just absolutely horrible.
Sure. It's funny. My start of the week is Justin Fields because he's going to run all over that football field.
Yeah, but he's already ranked in top 12.
Defense. Yeah. Yeah, but not normally. Yeah, but not normally. He's not normally ranked in the top 12.
That's fair.
So yeah. All right. Well, we do have another question. Jose has come back in, and those are ladies and gentlemen, your starts and sits of the week with Jason Draven. Hopefully one day that'll be a sponsored segment. Help us out with that. If you know anyone who works at Wendy's corporate, we would love to talk to them. I will do it for free. Like gift cards.
I
Like
was like, I more want
that's
the
that's the dream. That's
Mountain
the
Dew.
dream. Yeah,
I
Mountain
want
Dew would be-
PepsiCo.
That's Pepsi Frito-Lay. Yeah, I was gonna say like
We're reach for the stars here, eh?
Oh yeah, if I get the opportunity,
well, that was the most
Mountain Dew should
Canadian
be a
thing I've heard in a
sponsor.
long time.
Slash PepsiCo. Yeah.
Tim
Yum
Hortons
brand.
then. Fine, you wanna go? We'll
Tim
go with
Hortons,
Tim.
there we go.
Get Tim Hortons. Like, yeah,
Do you
Tim
guys
Hortons. I'll take
do
it.
you guys get
Timmy's
Tim
Timmy's is good enough for me. We can go to Michigan. I'm sure they got a
there you go.
couple. Yeah.
That's not
Trade
bad.
Pittman and Hines for Ramondre Stevenson. Oh boy, it's a
Mm,
good one actually. That's a rail splitter. I like.
Yeah,
that. I
it's
like
real
where your
close.
Head's at. I like where your head's
I
at.
feel
Let me
like you
some
could do. I
math.
feel like you do Pittman for Stevenson straight up. I like.
That's
mm,
actually close. It's close.
That's why throwing in Hines there.
Yeah, that's
No,
that's
I
why
get that.
throwing in
But I would
Hines.
try. I would try to do the one
A-
for one, and then if it doesn't work, then add in Hines.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'd rather do
Oh,
is
like-
try and trade Pittman and Hines for Aaron Jones.
There you go.
I'd rather try to do that first before I go down a
But
couple
you should have done that
spots.
before the last week. That's your issue. is you
Yeah,
had such a good
but
week
you did,
last
yeah,
week.
but Naheem Hines had no value at that time,
fair.
so you can't. We didn't go through all
Pittman
the
did,
trades
though.
here. Yeah, but Pittman
It
was
would have been a
also
tip the
dealing
scale
with.
kind of a thing.
But Pittman was also dealing with the fact that his quarterback was getting ripped out, so his value was down temporarily. So it would have been really hard to do that deal, even though Aaron Jones was struggling. But Aaron Jones is a premium running back. Oh, we have another
Miles
question.
Sanders touchdown. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's not Justin. That's not Jalen Hurts. That's not a Jalen Hurts touchdown.
That's not part of my parlay. Come on, guys.
Going to bed. I'm going to bed. Y'all have depressed me. So real quick, Jose, straight answer. That's about fair. So I'd say I'm of two minds on it. Maybe. I get where you're coming from. You need a running back. To be honest with you, I'd try to shoot a little higher. I'd rather try and go for a Jones or a Dameon Pierce, maybe. Or maybe a DeAndre Swift, actually. If
Yeah.
I thought I could get DeAndre Swift and then work another deal to get Jamal Williams and have both, that would
probably get
actually be
both.
my preference. That would actually be my preference. Then Aaron Jones, and then we work down from there. So I think we've answered that question. Come back to us with the results on that. Let us know what you get. And 6-point
Fields.
passing touchdowns, or no, 6-point anything. 6-point touchdowns
Well, yeah,
Cousins or
that means
Field?
passing because like rushing touch are so sick.
are
I still go
always
Fields.
6. Yeah.
I'm still going Fields. All it does is really just like, I mean, Kirk Cousins. I know that he's been efficient, but it hasn't really been great fantasy.
Kirk Cousins is playing Washington this week. I just want to let you know in case that's something that's not
Yeah,
immediately in
but
the
I
forefront of your mind.
mean, Fields is playing Miami.
He is.
I currently have Fields at 4 and Cousins at 12.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still picking Fields because Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown more than 2 touchdowns in a game. And does that change against Washington? Maybe.
I answer your question the same way I answer a lot of questions. If I need a 40 or I need a real good number to win, I play Fields. And if I need to make sure I get something, I play Cousins. It depends on how my matchup is working at the moment. If I'm favored, if I'm not, do I think I'm going to get crushed? Because if I think I need a 20 or higher, it's Fields. If I can live with a 15 to a 20, then it's Cousins. Because you got to, with Cousins, you know how it goes. You put your khaki pants on. You deal with what you get. You got your Jake from State Farm headset on. That's
Get your
what you
clipboard
do.
Out.
Yeah, you get exactly. You got your button-up polo. It's like that's what you do when you're starting Kirk Cousins. You know what you're dealing with. You ain't never getting no 40. But if I think I need some sort of huge game to win, to blow out my opponent, to do that, then I'm going to play Fields because Fields is my upside.
Mhm.
And it's close enough that you can split hairs that way. I have them at 9 and 11 respectively. So it's because you got 6 teams on bye. By the way, that's a big part of that. All right. Yes, exactly this. You go to Kohl's, you get a generic shirt that you overpaid for. It's exactly what you do. It's depressing. And nobody's happy about it, but it's what you do. There's a reason why Kirk Cousins is like consistently the number one backup quarterback in fantasy every year. It's why also in real life, he's probably like the 12th or 13th best quarterback operating. And it's not sexy.
Yep.
He's
very consistent.
It is what it is. Like he is the epitome of game manager with just a little teeny bit of upside. Like he's what Taylor Heineke wishes he could be. Maybe one day, Taylor. Maybe one day you can get there.
Oh.
Keep grinding. Reach for the stars. You tell I'm in a bad mood today, and I'm just lashing out at people. Like it's
for no reason.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke catching strays. Yeah.
Oh no! I'm still mad at Taylor Heineke from last year when he got Terry McLaurin in the concussion protocol because he threw it into double coverage and led him straight into double coverage and got him whacked, and then sent him to the concussion protocol for 2 weeks. I will never forgive him for that. Never. It's not, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I rostered a lot of Terry McLaurin in Dynasty, and that made my life very difficult for a couple weeks. It has nothing to do with that at all. Okay, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm getting out of this show. Show's over, folks. Actually, to be honest with you, I think the show is over. We're out of questions. The game's on. We're not doing the game breakdowns. We did start sit with Jason. By the way, as I said, if anybody knows somebody who wants to sponsor that segment, I will be more than happy.
We'll look into that.
I'd be more than happy to look into that. Particularly if you know somebody in Columbus, Ohio, who works for Wendy's corporate. I will. I will keep bringing
you and Wendy's.
It's delicious. And it's like the only fast food I actually like.
They actually make the best fast food burger.
It's like the only fast food I actually like. I don't really like fast food, and that's like the only fast food I like. So
I agree with that. Well,
that's. I know Tim Hortons is a Canadian staple up there. That's why I gotta. He's also drinking Canada Dry. Could you be more of a stereotype? Like, could you?
I also wear my Toronto Blue
Jays he's got a Toronto Blue. Oh God, I'm leaving. You all are. You're. I don't know what you got out of it, but you're welcome. You're welcome. And you always do this to me, Jose, as I'm trying to wrap the show. Ooh.
That's lateral for me. I don't think that's.
I'd rather do Pittman straight up. I would do Pittman straight up for it. By the way, I would do that.
I don't know if I'm just a homer, but I feel that's a bit of a reach.
I would do Pittman for Herbert straight. I'm not giving you Hines too, though. I'm not doing that.
No. Yeah, I would personally, for me, I would do Herbert and like maybe a depth wide receiver for Pittman, just because Pittman you got pretty early on. I don't want to, I don't want to give up on it too quick. Even though
I'd rather go Stevenson. If you're giving up both, I'd rather go Stevenson.
If you're giving up both, go up, man. Shoot higher than that. Like you can get more. But we'll continue this conversation. Oh, we've got.
I'd rather have the ham sandwich. I'm not gonna lie.
Is this a Futurama reference from 20 years ago? Because if it is, I'm here for it. My online handle is Gumbercules, by the way. So it's like I'm here for these weird deep cuts of Zoidberg references from the early 2000s. And if you can get someone to give you a ham sandwich, I think you might be able. I think you might have. If we're gonna carry the analogy all the way through, you might have to settle for a hard roll with ketchup on it. And if you get that joke, comment below, because like three people got that joke, and many of them are people I know.
Ridiculous.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of Thursday Night Football. Get at us if you have questions about the trades from the trade deadline. Get at us on Discord or on Twitter. We were going to break them all down here, but frankly, there were too many to go through. And it was just too long, and it's just too meandering. But we've got all the time in the world on our Discord for you. We can break it down the individual trades. Hell, we were doing it live when they were happening. So all that information's there for you. If you have questions for us, hit us up on Discord. If you're not part of our Discord, sign up. Patreon.com/importantnonsense for as little as $1. You can get on there and ask us these questions whenever you feel like. You don't have to wait for Thursday. You don't have to wait for us to get to your question on FLA or on Twitter or wherever else you want to try and get at us. You can get that done. It's usually like a 12-hour turnaround. Sometimes it's a lot less, depending on if we're actually immediately in front of our computer or not. But we can answer all those. We can talk you through the trade deadline stuff. And as a PSA, I will do this more as we get a little closer. But When do you guys know when the fantasy trade deadline is this year? Have you looked that up?
I felt like it was 2 weeks from now.
It's not 2 weeks from now. It's not 2 weeks from
Does
now.
it vary by website though?
Slightly it does.
Let me do
This
a
year,
quick Google search.
it is the 30th / the 1st,
Mm.
depending on what platform you play on. So you have 1 month left to get your trades done. 1 month. And then we will no longer be taking trade questions. I'm just kidding. Because obviously some of you
Dynasty and retro.
Well, Dynasty, but obviously
Keeper.
some people play in leagues that don't have a trade deadline. I don't agree with that decision, by the way. Just from a personal standpoint, I think your league should have a trade deadline, largely because of the playoffs. I don't like when people are doing trades in the playoffs. That's dirty. Don't do that. Like, that's icky.
Yeah, it's
Like,
murky.
Yeah, don't do that. It's what do they say? It's on Trailer Park Boys. That's greasy. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. You should have a trade deadline. But for the vast majority of the public who don't have a custom rule set, for those of you who do have a custom rule set, I would say check your website and check your constitution so that you know when your trade deadline is. But for the vast majority of people, your trade deadline is the 30th or the 1st. So it's right at the end of the month. Be aware of it. You have functionally 3 weeks left to get that done. You have about a month to get your trades done. So, and by this point, by the way, we're more than halfway through the fantasy regular season. This week is the NFL halfway regular season point. So by now, you know who you are. You know what your team is. And I would argue if you're less than 4-4 going into this week, 3-5 maybe is okay too, depending on what your roster is and what your buy situation is. But if you're any worse than if you're 3-5 or worse, you need to be looking at trades if you think you're going to try and right the ship and make the playoffs. So with that, Nerdman, final thoughts, parting thoughts for everybody as we get into the weekend.
Got nothing. Just join the Discord, man, and I'll see you guys on let's see, start sit Sundays, do Twitter Spaces normally, and then Monday back here for Waiver Wire show. So, and if you're a degenerate, you should stay till halftime.
Yeah, I was going to say,
make sure you bet on
I was gonna
all
get
those
there.
lines.
I was going to get there. Come back at halftime for the degeneracy with Mason Cameron and Vishal. They won't steer you wrong. They got all the sexy parlays and lines going on in there. Jordan, how about you? Final thoughts on the way out here as we get ready for the weekend.
No, I had a good time. We had a lot of questions, and
Love it.
You know,
you're out of pocket next week, right?
Yes, I will not be here.
Okay. Ooh, get ready for a special guest.
There you go.
Who will it be? Who will it be? We don't know
We'll
yet.
figure it out.
We just have Jason. Just have Jason twice. I feel like 2 Jasons. If you could, Jason, like, you know,
I'm gonna have Jason part his hair the other way.
Clone yourself.
No, I'm gonna have him part his hair the other way and be evil Jason, and get like 2, and have him like put like one of those like bizarro beards on, the little mustache. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, look even more deranged into the camera. That was a good take. That was good. That was good.
I couldn't even mess up my hair. It's
Did you take acting lessons from Al Pacino?
Yeah.
Like,
Gotcha.
I almost yelled something that I'm not allowed to yell. PG-13, Neil.
Hey, I didn't swear this time. That's good. That's good for me.
We did. We managed to get through it. I actually almost wanted to swear right.
Well,
there.
really don't know. Oh no.
Yeah, I almost wanted to do one of those just to. All right. Well,
that
Jordan,
would definitely get us a bad rating.
Jordan,
at that point.
Thank you as always. And my final thoughts are, just pay attention to the trade deadline coming up, folks. It's your own fault if you miss it. But now that the NFL trade deadline is passed, now is a great time to be evaluating new trades. It's a great time to be going through rosters in your leagues to see who needs help with what. There's also been a number of players today that have been deactivated for the year. Michael Thomas, Rashad Bateman, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the 2 that jump to mind. So between the trades and the inactives, the landscape of fantasy has changed a lot in the last couple days. So right now is a good time to be going through, looking at different trade possibilities and trying to figure out what you can get done, because you only have a couple weeks left. And the closer we get to the playoffs historically, the harder it gets. Now, I will say the smart money does this. You wait until the last day of the trade deadline and you start trying to get deals done then, because then people don't have other options. They run out of time. You know what I mean? Like, especially in keeper leagues and things like that, where it's like keeper leagues, dynasty leagues. It's like, well, what's your alternative? What's your other offer? It's either this or nothing. And you'd be surprised how effective that negotiating tactic is. Is it a little dirty? Oh, absolutely. It's pretty underhanded.
Leave
but
your morals at the door. That's what
yeah,
I
as a
say.
wise man once said, check your morals at the door. So that should be it's on it. Put the
Yeah,
Well,
that on
I'm,
your
I'm,
t-shirt.
I'm worse. I'd much rather target people who don't have players this week. Like, you just lost Bateman. Here, let me throw this at you.
Yeah, here's a ham sandwich. I love
Yes.
it. If you got more archaic Futurama references, I know them all. Bring them on. I could do all of this in Futurama references moving forward. That's fine with me. Like, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your attention and time as always. And we will see you next Thursday. Enjoy the rest of Thursday Night Football and stay tuned for Mason and Vishal. Get your degenerate fix in and good luck this weekend. Hit us up on Discord, hit us up on Twitter. And until then, keep up the nonsense and have a week.